mobile streaming to YouTube. If you're interested in how to do that, we're going to cover all the tips and tricks from apps that you can use to gear to improve your live streams, like camera lenses, everything you need to know to make your phone into a mobile filmmaking and live streaming studio. So it should be a fun episode. Welcome. Buckle your seatbelts. This is Wirecast Live. We'll be right back after these opening credits. Welcome to another episode of Wirecast Live. Today is Thursday, January 24th, 2:30 p.m. Pacific Time in lovely California. Thank you for joining us for another episode of our weekly live show. If you want to get show updates, upcoming topics, well, this is the place to come for anything related to live video streaming, video production, and we are here each week live on Facebook and YouTube, and you can get all that information from our guests to our topics to anything else you want to know about the show delivered directly to your inbox if you sign up for our lovely email list, which you can find at telestream.net/wirecastlive. So that's a great place to sign up. Of course, you could also follow us on the socials just by turning on your live notifications on YouTube or Facebook, or you can follow us on Twitter where we tweet out what's going on and our latest episodes. So it should be impossible not to find us on your favorite channel. If you're a first-time viewer, thanks for joining us. If you are watching on demand, we do post all of our episodes to YouTube, and you can check out all the great past shows and guests that we've had, and we will often clip out small segments or helpful chunks of each interview. So check that out. We will upload those periodically to the socials. So thank you for joining us. Today, we have a great show for you. So we are going to be covering just some quick announcements, as well as then we'll be moving on to our main segment, which is a guest, which I'm very pleased to have back on the show. This is his second time appearing on Wirecast Live. And if you are an active member of our Facebook chat or the community, you can often see him hanging out in the comments section. He knows a lot about our topic today, so we'll be getting into that. And then our topic will be mobile live streaming to YouTube is the title, but we'll be covering mobile live streaming in general as well as mobile filmmaking because there's so much to know. Often you just want to shoot video and record it and edit it later. You may not want to necessarily go live. A lot of the equipment you might use will go back and forth. And we have a contest. We're actually giving away free stuff on the show today. So, or we're going to tell you how to enter to win some free stuff. We'll actually announce the contest rules towards the end. We'll get into that, and then we'll wrap up the show. So it should be a fun one for you guys. I just want to say a quick shout out to everyone who's joining us. I see Lutz in the crowd. I see Nicholas, welcome, and Via Luoto from Finland, welcome. I'm going to see if my comment system is working. So I'll see if I can put these on screen and if everything's working as I intend it. So let's pull those on screen if we can, Deborah Lee, and make sure you get those going. I also want to quickly say a shout out to those joining us on YouTube. Broadcast Cooper Scully is a past winner of some free stuff. There's Villalobos, thank you, or Luoto, if I'm saying that right. You can always type that in phonetically if I get it wrong. Sandra V from last week said she was looking forward to this episode with Dave Basulto. She loves Dave. We'll be talking a little bit about that. He's our guest for today. We also have Jose from, and looks like Macau Productions. So saying hello from Colombia. So yeah, let us know in the chat or the comments where you're joining us from. We'd love to see where our viewers are tuning in from. We have a worldwide audience, and it's really fun to see where you all are joining us from. And if you would like, please share this out to anyone on your feeds if you think they might be interested. We'd love to have more members join our conversation. We have an active chat going on the Facebook and the YouTube. I'll be keeping an eye on those comments during the show. All right. Other than that, quick announcement: next week's episode is going to be entirely. Sorry, Deborah, I'm forgetting who's on the show next week. I forgot to write that down. But we have a guest coming on, and I think we're going to be talking with our friends over at Elgato. But don't quote me on that. You can check all of the latest live events at telestream.net/live/events, which is on our website. So, but yeah, I believe we'll be talking from our folks from Elgato. If it's not them, it actually might be. Oh no, I remember now. I think it's going to be Miss Ben Ratner. Yeah, it's going to be Ben Ratner. So that's actually going to be a really great show as well. Very excited. We have joining us next week an Emmy Award-winning television producer by the name of Ben Ratner, and we'll be getting into the art of live production. So he's going to be very good. And then down the pike, we've got Elgato coming on the show as well. So lots of good stuff for you in the works here at Wirecast Live. And that's just how we roll here. Okay, so without further ado, I want to jump into our topic for today. I want to bring on our guests, and we're going to talk about mobile live streaming. And hopefully, by the end of this, you're going to be an expert in the types of gear you need, type of apps you can use, and workflow tips to improve your mobile live productions and mobile live streamings from your phone or mobile device. And hopefully, you can even win some free stuff. Okay, so I would like to welcome to our show Mr. Dave Basulto, the CEO and co-founder of IOgrapher, a little company that is killing it in the peripheral space for your phone, iPhones, and mobile devices. And he is also the former broadcast teacher at San Marino High School in Southern California, where he and his students conceived of the idea of the IOgrapher, and from there it just took off like a rocket ship, and he hasn't looked back since. So I want to say welcome to my friend and our guest for today, Mr. Dave Basulto. Welcome, Dave.
Hello, sir. Good to see you again. And I have to say, I really paid attention to the opening this time, and it was amazing because I saw you in several different haircuts, and I really enjoyed seeing that because I never really paid that much attention, but saw some long hair on you, really short hair. So I saw various stages of you as a person. I liked it.
We try to mix it up here for sure. We've been doing this show, I think, 3 years now. And just as a quick disclaimer, guys, if you're worried about Dave's quality here, we've had some issues with the Skype connection. The audio seems to be holding, but when we start the connection and we started the call, it was crystal clear, everything's beautiful, and then over time, Skype just seems to not work so well. So. Yeah, so apologies for that. That just might be.
It's not me, it's them.
It's not. Yeah, it's either us or it's not us. Maybe it's the Skype. It's Microsoft and Skype servers. We don't know. Maybe it's just Comcast. So, Dave, I want to say thanks so much for coming on the show. And it's been a while since you've been back here on the show. So tell us a little bit what's been going on with IOgrapher since you came here. And maybe for those who don't know what IOgrapher is or what your company does, can you talk a little bit about it and how it works?
So IOgrapher is a case system for iPhones or iPads. This is our brand new product, the multi-case, so it fits Android and iPhone devices. You can add lights, lenses, microphones to it. Has handles, you can shoot vertically, you can do all kinds of stuff and really up your mobile filmmaking game. I invented this as a high school media teacher because my students were holding their phones and filming like this, and it drove me absolutely mad. And so I started to tinker with my 3D software. We created a prototype. It went to Kickstarter, and now I'm in my 5th year, and we're distributed all over the world. In fact, Ariana Grande was just seen holding it in a video she did. So
I saw
things
you
are crazy
tweet out some stuff about that. That's pretty awesome. So I have one here. If you guys didn't get a good, so this is the first model you ever sent us. This was for the iPad.
Kickstarter right there.
This is the Kickstarter. So we're just gonna look at a little evolution here. So this was one you sent us for the iPad Mini. And it worked fantastically. And one thing I loved about this was that you had this awesome lens system where you could actually screw in the lenses. So I'm just going to, you sent us 2 lenses for this guy, and it just popped right in here onto the camera, and then we could just like screw it in on the camera here, and then it would just fit here. And then you have these cool little hot shoes on the top
Mm-hmm.
where we could attach microphone you sent us, and we could do lights. We could do all kinds of stuff. And then it was just so easy. And then on the bottom, an easy like hole to put it on the tripod plate.
Right.
So that was sort of my first introduction to the iOgrapher, and we absolutely loved it. Unfortunately, the camera on the iPad Mini wasn't amazing, so it wasn't always possible to get super good stuff. But that didn't hold us back from using this. And then since then, obviously, phones have been moving at a really rapid pace, and so cameras have been moving all over the place. So then we got this sort of newer model that you sent us, and it had more of an expansion for like the new like double cameras or 3D cameras.
Yeah.
And
it would have a lens clip now that you would clip on.
So the lens clip. So the lens just clips on now, and that was awesome. And then I believe your newest model, you've been accommodating almost any phone that people can do, because cameras are all over the place now.
Yeah. No,
So-
it's we were not giving Android any love since day one, since I was an iOS snob, but I started to realize there are some really good Android phones.
Right.
And also the fact that Apple continuously came out with different sized phones. They feel, oh, you know what, let's move the camera 1/16 of an inch in this direction. And so it was just a madhouse to try and keep up with it. So we decided, let's make a multi-case that you can fit anything in there, from iPhone 6 all the way up to the XS Max. This is the XS Max in here. It's mine. And then we could clip on lenses now if we want to, so we can still line up the lens and use it. I have grown to love, there's a company called Moment Lens. They make very high-end lenses. So note that I never got in the business to be a lens maker. They're lens makers. And so they have this amazing lens that you can pop on filters. This is their lens. It's a wide angle, but they have about 8 or 9 different lenses. And they screw on really easily with their little case, their protective case inside. And they are just high quality. It's kind of like I'm giving them a commercial, but I really, really love using their stuff. And then you pop in, your microphone of your choice. I've got this Saramonic little shotgun mic right now. It's a $50 mic that will up your game 100%. And then a little mini tripod from Manfrotto. And, you can go out there and start creating some great content.
Okay, so the whole kit that you just showed there, $50 mic plus the lens, excluding the phone, because obviously phones are probably the most expensive piece of all this. What does all that cost? The mini tripod, the everything?
So the mini tripod, you're looking at like $25. So our iOgrapher multi-case is a $79 investment, but you're not going to have to, as our old cases, which were $50.
Right.
You had to, if you upgraded your new product, to a new iPhone or iPad, you had to upgrade your case because it wasn't fit sometimes.
Right.
This thing is going to fit your phone forever. So we expect you to be a one-time buyer of this. What we hope for is that you're going to upgrade your accessories over time, of course.
Right.
Better microphones, wireless options. So anyway, so the case is $79. And then you add on different microphones. And this microphone right here, like I said, it's a new one by Saramonic. Sounds great. I have a demo on my YouTube channel. This is a $60 microphone. So it's really, really, really cheap. And it sounds fantastic. And then the Moment stuff, I mean, you certainly don't have to use them. You can use no lenses. You can use our iOgrapher lenses, which are like $30 a piece. Their stuff, if you buy their protective case, which is inside the iOgrapher, that was another thing that the multi-case that we wanted to do was people were saying, oh, I got to take my phone out of the case every time and pop it into the iOgrapher. So we said, you know what, let's fix that. So now you can put in standard protective cases, some life-proof type cases fit, and then, they have their little lens there. The lenses are where you're going to spend the money at $99 a pop. Sometimes they have sales, but they are so solid. I mean, you're going to keep them forever. So you're looking at taking your game up, let's see, 50, 75, 150, maybe $350 at the most.
Right.
That's with the lenses and everything. And then add your device. and you've got a filmmaking kit that you can shoot great video, you can stream on. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, so that's
Edit as well.
sorry, edit as well. Yeah, so you've got
Yeah.
everything you need all in one kit, which and of course your phone you have anyway, so it's not like you're going out and buying a new special camera or device. You're just augmenting and creating it. So that's pretty amazing. So and I just want to quickly show the final evolution a little bit closer up. So this was what you finally sent us, which is the new multi-case. So this is the new, I guess, $70 case or whatever. And we can actually, if you want, unbox this right now and
Let's
actually
do an
show people.
unboxing.
Let's do an unboxing.
Wirecast unbox therapy.
Okay. And I understand this. Are you giving this away? Is this what we're giving away
We
on
are
today's
giving
show?
that away.
We're going to give this
Yes.
away.
We're gonna, yes.
Okay. So we'll
Not
say
that particular one.
not this
Keep
particular
that
one. Okay.
Yes,
So we're
but
gonna
we'll be
well
giving-
actually I'm gonna unbox this. You can see what's inside, and I haven't actually opened this yet. I was saving it for this interview for this show, and then stick around for the contest rules. We'll cover that in a bit. Okay, so how you can win one of these yourselves.
Well, actually, I'm scared now because that's the one I put with those snakes that pop out.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have
man.
to if I die on air, just send the funeral bill to you, Dave. Okay, so let's look real fast here. I've got you've got some cool stickers on the front, which
Yep.
I can brand my laptop or my case with,
Yep.
which is great.
Yep.
Smart advertising.
Yep.
And then we have a cool coupon that you included, a 15% off.
Yep,
Looks
yep.
like on a another mobile app software there. And then we've got this cool, so I'm just going to pull this out. So there's just a couple like placeholders, just sort of spacers, cardboard spacers. They're just holding that in there securely. And then you have the iOgrapher case itself, and it feels good. It feels solid. There's this sweet little like phone insert card with the instructions, which I really like.
We were going to give phones to everybody, but we decided it would be expensive.
I've understood.
A card was better.
Yeah, right. And so what's neat here is I'm seeing that you've got these cool like spring-loaded sort of plungers, which kind of help, I guess, just adjust to the size of the phone. Now, the fact that they're independent, that's really interesting to me. They're not. It's not one system. The top one kind of itself, I'm going to get the shine here so people can see it, is independent of this bottom one. Is there a reason? Is that because some phones won't use both?
No, it's actually just so that you could fit it perfectly, line it up perfectly. Plus, we didn't want anything in the middle to obscure the middle because you might want to put cables in there and all kinds of stuff. You know.
That is so. Let's talk a little bit about that because the audio is going to be a huge piece. So using that port on the bottom of your phone is one of the best ways to include, attach either extra battery or a charger, or just like you're doing there, or a microphone in particular. Most often, a microphone. So you need this space. It's critical.
Yes, and actually, Belkin makes a thing called the Mobile Rockstar or something like that. That is it's for iOS. I think they make it for Android yet, but plug into Lightning, and then it's got 2 Lightning adapters in there, and I believe a headphone jack. I'm not sure about that, but no, it doesn't have a headphone jack. 2 adapters there that you can plug a microphone into, so you can go audio in and out, and then the other one's for power, so you can put a battery in there. So
it's
really
Important.
fantastic.
So I will actually mention that because we were talking about mobile equipment, and I also brought the DJI Osmo Mobile, whatever kind of gimbal. And the thing I can't stand about this, like I love the smooth action and everything.
It dies after a few minutes.
Yeah, the battery. But what I can't stand about it is I can't, for the life of me, get a good microphone connected to this thing because they leave no room on the bottom.
No room whatsoever.
So the fact that you guys do that, what do you recommend for stabilization? So, because if I want the power of something like the gimbal, what do you recommend for a good gimbal for these guys? What is that?
This is the Osmo Pocket.
Osmo Pocket. Okay.
Have you not played with this yet?
I have not.
So what's nice about this is, let me just turn it on and geek you out a little bit. So it's a tiny little gimbal. And then what I've been doing with it, because people ask me all the time, can iOgrapher make an Osmo kind of thing, a gimbal type access? And I'm like, I don't know anything about that. That's scientific stuff that I don't know.
Right.
So this baby here, you can plug this. I just bought this new mount, so I don't have it ready right now, but I would
Okay.
mount it like right here.
Uh-huh.
And then they came out with a wireless module that allows you to connect to their app on the iPhone
Uh-huh.
or iPad. So
Uh-huh.
now you've got this amazing 4K camera that shoots 4K 60, beautiful video, slow-mo stuff. It does all of it. Now I can see it on my iOgrapher with my phone or my iPad, and I can move around. If you need great audio, you can put on a zoom up here on your top of your iOgrapher and just get independent audio from this because they don't have the speaker module, not the speaker, the audio module yet hasn't been made. It's going to be
Mm.
released soon, but
Okay.
eventually you'll be able to plug in a microphone to the bottom of it and have audio going directly and put any kind of. So now we've got it out here on top,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then down below, you have it hooked up to the microphone, and it's just I am geeked out so bad on this. I love this device. It's like $300 or something like that, but it literally fits in your pocket.
Huh.
And it has a great follow kind of thing. So I would focus on you and just follow you wherever you went,
Okay.
and
Okay.
it's tremendous. So
That
that's my little thing.
that's fascinating. So you actually recommend the secondary camera on top. So and then just using now you can
If
use your
you're looking for
iOgrapher
that gimbal
to
kind of look,
yeah, that gimbal, that stabilization look. And that's
and you want to be
pretty
like
cool.
real and follow, focus, and do fun stuff like that, absolutely. Otherwise, I mean, I've seen people shoot really tight, and they're taking the zombie steps and
Right.
whatnot to really
Right.
make it. And you can absolutely do that. It works fine.
Mhm.
But if I can find a secondary tool that plays nice with my stuff, I am thrilled, and that one does absolutely. It's great.
That's awesome. Okay, so that's really helpful. Okay, so lots more to talk about here, but I want to quickly check in on our audience and see how everybody, if you have questions or what the comments are here. So I noticed some people tuning in from Denver, Newport, Rhode Island, from Salve Athletics. We have a bunch of people saying. Uh, that this is something this looks really cool. What is the cost? This is from Chris. What is the cost of the Osmo? That Osmo. So you said it's about 300.
It's actually 349. It's called the Osmo Pocket.
Osmo Pocket.
Um,
Okay.
and it is worth its weight in gold, and I highly recommend it.
And it's
It's funny
made.
because I wanted to be a reseller of their stuff
Yeah.
just because of this, and they said, "Great, your first order has to be 150,000 or more." So I'm a little on hold for that right now, but I highly recommend it to people.
At some point, it's gonna happen. Okay. So then and then we have Chris says she's joining from San Francisco. So welcome. Thanks for asking that question. And then, Edmund says thanks for sharing. So um, the sort of question that kind of this leads me to is so you've got sort of a case like this. You can
Hmm.
connect. And I didn't really go over this, but on this multi-case, you've got two hot shoes
Hmm.
or shoe mounts on the top, and then you've included tripod mounts, plate mounts on both the handles, so you could mount
Not
it.
not only tripod, but we sell. You're familiar with Joby tripods.
Mm-hmm.
So we sell Joby stuff, and they have these two arms. So you can put two extension arms up here that are bendable to add extra
Ah,
lights, or if you want to have a GoPro as a second camera, or whatever you want to do.
got it.
So you can do all kinds of fun stuff like that. We can pimp this out as big as possible.
Got it. Okay. So you've got all these peripherals. You can add all the lights and everything. Once you've pimped it out, what let's talk with like the apps that you can
Hmm.
use. So we mentioned live streaming to YouTube, and I'll go
Hmm.
over Wirecast Go, which is an app that you can use and actually will need to use if you want to win free stuff. And
Hmm.
then but there's also filmmaking, recording apps, and you
Yep.
have a book that you actually go through a lot of these tools, and I bet you're almost due for an update or a second edition now.
Well, it's,
To
it's funny that you say that because I just did a whole. I'm working on a massive blog slash video tutorial, not tutorial, but video on all the apps for 2019, and it just changes so often. It's hilarious.
It is. It's hard to
But
it's hard to do practical advice in books because they're going to be out of date in 5 years or less.
absolutely,
And,
absolutely.
and so,
So,
but
so
yours is still really helpful. A lot of the stuff that you talk about in this book is still right on point. So it's called Life, Camera, Action: How to Turn Your Mobile Device into a Filmmaking Powerhouse. So a lot of the stuff
So
you're
one of the
covering.
big things about that was that I wanted to be very theoretical as well, not and workflow centric, not just apps or devices, and so that in the future, if you wanted to get into different things like live streaming or shooting sports or filmmaking, a lot of the information is still relevant. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And so you try to stay high level. First, you talk about devices, then you get into the audio and kind of the principles behind how to add microphones converters for mobile devices. So converters obviously a big deal on how to get, into the Lightning or USB 3 or C or whatever for individual phones. Then we get into the
Hmm.
cases and lenses, and then the filmmaking apps, and then workflows. So we've sort of talked about devices a little bit. Are there, like, if people are getting started, I think just about any phone, these days is pretty darn good, has a pretty good camera. But I mean, if people are looking for kind of that good, low end cost device, whether it's a good Android or like a Galaxy, Samsung, or a decent iPhone, and then the Google Pixels, I think, have you have any experience or recommend any of these
It,
for?
it, it's funny that you say that, but Unbox Therapy is one of my favorite YouTube shows,
Mm-hmm.
and I just love seeing all the crazy things he opens up. So the other day he opened up this Android by a company called Blue, and it's I think it's what 6 inch, 6.2 inch screen,
Mm-hmm.
and it looked amazing. It's the number one selling Android device on Amazon, $149.
Hmm.
So I am going to do a video this weekend where I'm going to unbox this and trick it out and go shoot video, and we're going to see how good it is.
Cool.
But imagine if it works out well and you get some good images from it. It can capture. I already know that Androids will capture external the audio.
Mm-hmm.
So let's see how the camera is. I'm going to throw some lenses on it and maybe do some slider stuff and just see if you can get quality stuff from this. And we'll see what people think at the end when I tell them this phone was 150 bucks.
That would be
You know,
amazing. Okay.
not everyone's going to buy the iPhone 10s Max like me, stupidly, at $1,700 when I had all the bells and whistles on it. So that's
So
just, I
yeah,
mean,
I mean, you'll follow that. Your pocketbook follows the iPhone snobbery. That's the one, they go hand in hand. It's like, but so actually, this would be a good time to put up your contact information so people can know where to find your videos when they're done.
great.
We actually want to see this when you've shot the video and your final review on this $150 phone. So go ahead, Dave. Spell it out.
Yeah, I would love it if you guys did follow me on YouTube because we give away stuff on there. Some of my videos. I just did one on the Saramonic V-Mic Mini versus the Rode Video Micro. Just a little shootout and asked people to tell me what they thought, and we're going to pick a winner tomorrow, and they're going to pick at the microphone of their choice. So I always like to do some kind of a giveaway. I feel thankful that people will come and watch the show, so you should be able to get something out of it as well.
Cool. So that's youtube.com/iographer, and you can find most of the content on most of the channels at iographer.
Iographer.
And so yeah, take a look for that review. As you said, you're always testing new equipment. You're always bringing in new microphones, new everything around mobile. So you're just so focused on that, and I think it's wonderful because it's basically where I go to get all my information on the latest devices. You're always 5 steps ahead of me in terms of testing new equipment,
That's
new
very kind of you.
devices, new adapters. So I really do appreciate that, and I also think the book that you wrote is a wonderful starting point for anyone who just wants to have a little on their desk resource, just a quick reference, and you can jump to the chapters. And Dave, a lot of the kind of the core principles are still around. A lot of the adapters and the apps are still there. So if you kind of follow that, that'll get you off and running really quickly. So let's talk about workflow. Okay, so you've tricked it out. You've bought everything you need for your to trick out your phone. You've got the iOgrapher case, you've got your microphone, you've got your adapters, you're ready to go. You're going to go out in the field and you're going to film something. So let's start with filming. Now, I started doing this. I started when I was on the road using an iOgrapher kit and setup, and I downloaded an app called, and actually purchased for $10, an app called Filmic Pro, which is based on your recommendation, Dave, to kind of unlock the potential of my iPhone's recording capabilities. Suddenly, I wasn't limited by the sort of built-in iOS camera app. I could actually choose my frame rate. I could choose my quality. I could choose how high I want, how sort of what high bit rate I wanted to record in. Everything I needed in the Filmic Pro app, and I would just start recording these clips into Filmic Pro. And what was cool is it even it had a companion app, so if I had more than one device, I could actually kind of set up my shots on one device and then tap record while I was recording on the other. So it was kind of helpful if I didn't have a cameraman. So you still recommend?
While you're on that, yeah, let me show you this for a second. So this is Filmic Pro, right? Actually, I have this open. And so I got Filmic Pro here. How am I going to do this? Let me see.
Well, I can actually show, if you want. I have Filmic Pro on my phone. So if
you don't have this.
Okay.
So I've got, where's my camera? Can I turn my, so I don't know if you see that, but
wow,
that's
yeah.
That's my remote control for Filmic Pro.
They have they have an Apple smartwatch.
And an actual, yeah. So that was my lifesaver because I don't have to say, honey, will you come and press the start button while I'm recording. So I don't need anybody anymore. I just set my shot up. I look at
tap your watch.
Go, boom. I start shooting. But yeah,
Man.
Filmic Pro has been since day one. I've been with them. I've tried every camera app under the sun. Except the one that was $1,000 that shot 4K at one time. I don't know if the guy sold any of those.
Really? An iOS app for $1,000? An
iOS app that was
$9.99. Kidding me?
Yeah, and everyone hated him, and it's I'm sure it's nothing, but so Filmic Pro, they constantly are upgrading their quality and the stuff that they do. I mean, I'm shooting 4K stuff in it, Filmic Extreme. What it does is it adds more bit rate to your videos to make them higher quality video than the Apple camera does. I think the Apple camera at 4K does something like 60 megabits per second, but in Filmic Extreme, it goes to 100 megabits per second, which is equivalent to shooting like ProRes format or something really high end. So when you bring that into post, it's amazing. So your videos look gorgeous. That is the first, second to audio, I will say, adding some kind of an audio thing. But the next thing you got to do is grab Filmic Pro. Even if your audio, your microphone is just your headphones, earbuds that have a better mic than just with no mic.
Right.
But next after that, get Filmic Pro. It's now $20, but I mean,
yeah, it's still
things aren't free.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And it is hands down the best filming app out there.
That's awesome. Okay, so I want to talk real quick about that because here's the sticking point that I hit, and it's a workflow issue. But I would start recording in Filmic Pro, and then getting my clips out of Filmic Pro, they don't automatically go to your iPhotos library. You can export them there, but by default, they're kind of locked in the Filmic Pro sort of, private clip library. And in order to kind of,
you can airdrop them, right?
Yes. So I started airdropping them, but airdrop is a little slow for large files.
Yes.
So it wasn't ideal, especially if I was under the gun and I wanted to quickly start editing stuff. I like to edit on a laptop on my MacBook Pro. So if I was doing editing or anything like that, I had to airdrop everything over. It took a little time. Sometimes there's connection issues. If you're trying to export multiple clips, that kind of gets clunky. They come in different orders a little bit. What do you recommend? Is that just is that kind of the price you pay for having such a great app?
Not really. I mean, my workflow is one of the big things is you got to go into Filmic Pro and set up your shot names so that it comes in sequentially, other than some weird, I mean, you certainly can look at what time you shot stuff to kind of know where you're at. But I like to go in there and say, hey, we're at Social Media Marketing World, day 1, video 01, and it'll start going sequential stuff.
Okay.
But what I do, so if I'm shooting a ton of videos, it's kind of old school, but you go in there, you plug in, you go into iTunes,
Yep.
you go to the apps, And
Yep.
then from there, you can do drag all of those clips, select them all, and just drag them all into a folder. And it takes, however long. It's not slow by any means, but
Okay.
you
So
know,
you
it,
do it all
it,
through the
it's
USB Lightning cable and through using
yes,
iTunes as your sort of interface. Okay. So that's the sort of the step I wasn't doing. I wouldn't go in and dig through and use the apps in iTunes. So I will try that next time because that's what I was looking for. I
that's
wanted
the
something.
easiest way. That's the fastest way.
Okay. Because I was
Now
thinking.
there
Go ahead.
are wireless and wired external hard drives that you can save this video footage to.
Mm-hmm.
Narbox makes one. Western Digital has one, and I'm working on a whole video on that. So lots of videos
Interesting.
coming out.
Okay, so as you're
But
shooting them, it could be syncing directly with Filmic Pro onto this external hard drive, and then you've got a little another redundant backup. How often do you find yourself needing to sort of clean out your Filmic Pro archive on your phone or your device?
that's interesting you say that because I was just shooting. So I have an iPhone 8 Plus that I do a lot of videos with here because it's still an amazing camera. It shoots 4K. It's like amazing.
Totally.
So I'll shoot a lot of my stuff in that in here and at my home studio and bring it in. And I noticed the other day that I had stuff, that was going back till last summer. And I was like, oh my God, I got to get this rid of these clips.
Yeah.
And so I usually like to drag them all into I call it Filmic Dump. And that's my dump folder. And then I'll go through them all later and see what I need and whatnot. I
Got
like to
it.
keep it clean.
Okay.
Another
Yeah.
thing that just a little quick tip is that before you start filming, clean out, turn off all your apps, wipe your apps all clean, do a fresh restart of your phone or iPad or whatever, and then launch your software you're going to film
Ah.
with.
Yeah.
Make
Yeah.
sure you're
Yeah.
in airplane mode unless you're going streaming or something.
Right.
But make sure you're in airplane mode because on phones the LTE can sometimes mess around with your audio. It make little sounds sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want that to happen. But that's a really common thing that you should be doing is to clean out everything and start fresh.
That's a really good power tip right there. Reset your phone's software, close all the apps, and even restart the phone and then put it in airplane mode before you begin filming. And I didn't even think of that, but there were little weird glitches, freezes, apps, and I'm sure it was all the background stuff that I was running on the phone. And one of the things phones do is they're constant. They don't really ever quit apps, or a lot of applications
They're
are
little
just always
computers. I mean,
running in the
they're yeah.
background. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Something to think about. Okay, great tip right there. Okay, so if you guys have other questions about that, I think Dave. So Tim Flanagan says hi, Super Dave,
Tim
and
Flanagan's a power iographer user.
Justin Brown is on in the house today. So Justin's great. We love Justin.
Justin Brown, I love Justin Brown.
Yeah, we
Hey,
both
Justin.
great YouTube channel. You should go check out his stuff, and he has a ton of power tips when it comes to
I
all
want to
of these
send you
devices.
the new multi-case, Justin, because I think you'll like it.
Will, we need to see a Justin Brown review of that. He won't hold any punches, pull any
No,
punches.
and I
Though,
love
Dave,
that.
so.
I'm fine with that.
No, I know. And he's just saying you can change the default location for Filmic Pro to your photo library, which is great to know. I'd also be curious, Justin or Dave, if you guys know that awesome Apple Watch monitor app that you showed for Filmic Pro. Is that also available for Android smartwatches and with the Android version of Filmic Pro?
I don't believe so, but I do know. I don't think they have that yet. But Filmic Pro definitely has an Android app that works well. I've
Okay.
heard it's a little tiny bit buggy because it wasn't the first baby.
Right.
But they're developing it better, and I've actually tried it on the Pixel. It works great for me.
Okay.
So they're spending more resources into Android as well.
All right, so let's cut to my screen real fast. I've got my my iPhone plugged in here, and we can actually just take a quick tour of the app, and then we'll close out with mobile streaming to YouTube and our prize giveaway. So you'll see here, right here, I've got two apps here. Filmic Pro, they're in the red at the bottom here. Filmic Pro and the remote app. So those two apps are kind of the two companion apps. The main app, the recording and camera app, is Filmic Pro. And then the other one is this this remote app, which is how I can kind of monitor what's going on. You can hit record and stuff like that. But let's just take a look at the main app here, and you guys can look at kind of how it works. So it's just a pretty standard camera app. What's nice is you've got you can set focus, right? And you can set exposure using these two drag, and you can kind of move them around the screen with your fingers. There's a
Mm-hmm.
ton of settings. Like I said, you can set resolution. You can set the quality of depending on how big your camera can record. So I can record in 2K. I can record in sort of their own codec and other things. Just so much. I can even set sort of the audio device and the quality of the audio. I mean, it's a really, really powerful app for any
Which
recording.
is something that you want to make sure in that audio section.
Mm-hmm.
You want to make sure that it says either headset microphone or the name of the microphone you have it plugged into. So
Yep.
like if it says Rode Video Micro or whatever, but you want to make sure of that.
Do you ever have any syncing issues with Bluetooth microphones? Do you ever notice the audio is
I've
off a
only
little?
tried one Bluetooth microphone with this, and I wasn't a fan yet.
Okay.
I'd like to see that happen one day,
Okay.
but of course, wireless microphones, just normal ones, but not
Right.
Bluetooth.
Yeah, yeah. And then you just leave it in PCM, or do you like to go
I
AA?
leave all the defaults.
Okay.
I usually, whatever it is, 48 kilohertz.
Cool.
The other cool stuff in there, if you can get out of this screen,
Yep.
well, you can set presets.
Yep.
But if you get out of the screen, so
Yep.
now if you go and click on that right there, that's where all the power is going to be on your lighting. You want to white
Yep.
balance everything. We're
Uh-huh.
going to answer that call real quick,
Right.
but
Gonna take that call. Spam caller right there.
you want to white balance stuff. Has auto white balance there. It's got different color temperatures you can play with
Mm-hmm.
to shoot with, and then the middle button there.
Right
If you
here.
click on the
Yep.
left-hand side, so that unlocks the cinematographer kit, and that is where the amazing stuff happens.
Whoa.
It's like $14 or whatever, but now that lets you have raw footage, so you can shoot in log
I
format.
was gonna ask. So
Um,
if I want to
yeah,
actually shoot in RAW and then color balance, like in DaVinci
yes.
Resolve or something, I can do
Oh,
that.
absolutely,
Ooh,
absolutely.
that's
Lumetri
cool.
scopes, anything. So it's got all those toys in there, and it's worth its weight in gold.
That's amazing.
I think if you double tap on the circle next to it right there,
Uh-huh.
on the bottom left.
Bottom left, double
So
tap on the
yeah,
circle here, or no?
yeah. So let's see. I have
So
Filmic
here's
Pro here. Let
kind
me
of
see what I'm doing.
exposure, f-stop, focus,
Yeah. So
zoom.
there you can play with your f-stops and what. Let me see where how am I going to get to this part? Let's see.
Let's go back here.
Where is it? Where's my zebras? There's a zebra. There's the ability, and I don't know where I am right now in Filmic Pro. Oh, here we go. On the top, there you go, right there. So you
Yep.
see the things on the top there?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
now if you click on the left, the top
Oh,
left
yeah,
one,
it
that's
shows
your
you what's
zebra
blown
select.
out. Yep.
Yep. So that's going to show you what's blown out and whatnot. You can change your settings there,
Well,
and it's
what's
got all
this?
kinds of options there
That's cool.
for great. I mean, it's a full-on DSLR type workflow with this thing. It's crazy.
Right. That's really cool. This is amazing. Yeah, I don't think I ever got this deep into it. I mostly would just set the sort of default and but yeah, this is cool to get a quick tour
Well,
of it.
that's the thing. You can certainly do point and shoot. Make sure that you have your light locked and you have your focus locked, and you're
Right.
good to go.
Okay. Well, that is
But yeah,
amazing. Um
it's our client.
So highly recommend that for any sort of static recording you're doing. So now we have to talk about live. This is a live show, and we talked about streaming live to YouTube. So some of you already are familiar with our live app for iOS devices called Wirecast Go, and it is a pretty cool little app that's going to sort of increase your production value. So once you've got the iOgrapher kit and you've got sort of your standard filming, app through Filmic Pro for any recording you want to do, and you want to go live, and you want to go to Facebook or you want to go to YouTube, you can of course use the built-in apps. I think YouTube makes its own live streaming app, or the YouTube app allows live streaming to YouTube. So does and Facebook. You can use the standard Facebook app on your phone, but those aren't going to give you very much production power or the ability to switch shots or bring on lower thirds or graphics and things like that. So having a good live production tool like Wirecast Go really makes a huge difference and can take it from just a selfie sort of no bare bones video, or if some of those AR effects which are kind of built in, they're kind of neat, but they don't necessarily let you do production where you want to introduce topics or bring on graphics or just go to additional sources. So Dave, we can talk a little. Let's talk a little bit about that, and we'll start with Wirecast Go. But obviously, Wirecast Go is not going to allow for multiple cameras, so we'll need to talk a little bit about a mobile switching solution for multiple cameras as well. So,
or Wirecast at home with Wirecast Go, which I do all the time.
yes, you can do that too. So if you want to link it on your Wi-Fi and just use your phones as little mobile cameras, you could, of course, turn any IOgrapher camera. We tell this to schools a lot too. They'll say we have a ton of iPads or iOS devices and we have Wirecast. How can we turn those all into cameras? And so we tell them you use IOgrapher. You've got the full filmmaking kit, and if you have a Wi-Fi network, you can turn those into little mobile cameras and run around and get all the content you need wirelessly. So that's something that we know a lot of Wirecast users use. Okay, so let me pull this up and we'll talk a little bit about Wirecast Go.
Well, while we're talking about Wirecast, I put up in the comments a link to, I have a class on Udemy for Wirecast 7 that people love, and they want me to do 11, but it's a free, I'm giving them free coupons if you have remotely want to get into Wirecast itself. I have a whole training thing there that you can have for free, and it's for Wirecast 7. So there's some things that are missing with the latest build, of course, but I answer questions in case you have, if you're interested in that. But
actually,
anyway.
this is something I've been meaning to do as well. I think I don't have a Udemy course on Wirecast, and it's something I've been wanting to do. So I should. This has motivated me because I think you have one, Paul has one, and I haven't done one, and I probably should, and I'm probably in a better position to stay up to date on latest features.
Yes.
Than you guys, since it's kind of my job. So yeah, for now, go to Dave's. That's a great place to go, and then hopefully if I have some time coming up here, I will post a Udemy course as well, and people will cover the latest features. But yeah, Dave, if you get to 12, please, 11 or 12, I think 12 is around the corner, that's a great place to go. All right, so let's go to Wirecast Go here on my phone, and we'll talk briefly about this, Dave, and how you've seen or how you recommend people use this. So it's downloadable, it's free, and it works in portrait or landscape, which is fantastic. And you can already see.
By the way, don't shoot portrait ever.
There are.
It's my pet peeve.
We should talk about that. There are some people who recommend, you get better, engagement and things like that on social streams with portrait. You don't agree?
I've never been a portrait person, so
okay.
I'm old school filmmaker. I love widescreen. I love 16:9. I love anamorphic.
Yep.
But when I'm doing Instagram Live or something, I totally get it.
I get it. So we've got the phone camera switch here right at the top just by using that top button. We're not actually streaming yet. It's just showing you what you want to do. It's also, you'll notice that you've got this, I'll switch back so I can actually kind of gesture. But up in the upper right corner, there's a little like audio meter. And that actually, if you tap it and it'll go gray, that lets you know you're muted or not. So that's a really handy thing to do. And then the final sort of step here is that you've actually got, with the app, the ability to switch shots. So you can actually create additional layouts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this one, I've zoomed in a lot just by pinching the camera source and moving it around the screen. I can actually lay out exactly sort of a cropped shot or a wide shot. I could put myself side by side with, say, something I'm talking about. So if I wanted to load up, say, another source, maybe some slide images, if I want to cover slides and go over slide 1, slide 2, slide 3, I could do a whole presentation. I do that just by tapping the plus button to add another layer. You can see in the bottom one, it's actually filled in the lower layer with a little thumbnail of my camera, and it's showing me that actually has this source is on the third layer, which is the lowest one. So we can go to the second layer, and we could add like a screenshot. So here's a snowman that my kids made just the other day because we had a little snow up here, and I could be talking and do an example of snowman, right? And this could be going live to Facebook or YouTube or any destination that I want. So I've got the ability to create graphics, create overlays, and I still haven't even used all 3 of my layers, right? So then I can come in, and if I, say in Photoshop, created some handy additional sort of overlays, which I've done in the past. I think I've done on some Wirecast demos, but you could have a topic overlay, which you could bring in and set up ahead of time. And this shot is saved. In this case, I'll just show, say, another angle of the snowman. So maybe, they're not that different, or maybe that's the same one. But you could just imagine this as a graphic or a title. And then this is all saved in this particular shot layer, and I can easily switch right back to my original camera angle. And when I'm ready to switch back to my second one, I can go there. And there's just a quick transition that's happening. All of this would be happening live and in real time, which is not something, say, the Facebook app can do or the YouTube app can do. So one thing people always ask me about is, how do I stream better to YouTube? Well, step one is give yourself a little horsepower in terms of your production. And switching.
Well, it just makes it so much more interesting than just seeing someone, even someone as handsome as you.
Oh, thank you.
You still want to see other things like, this is what I'm talking about. This is the thing I just discovered. I'm at this convention. This is the new microphone I wanted you to see, or whatever. So
yeah, you could go around.
That's really important.
Collecting photos at Social Media Marketing World and say, or at CES and say, here's a great photo of this cool new thing. And you don't always have to be live. It's nice to have a demo, but if you want to do a quick tour of other things you've done or moments that you can't necessarily give them a summary, it's a great example of all the possibilities you can do with this thing. Okay, so now maybe we should talk briefly about how to set it up to go where you want it to go, right? Because we kind of talked about setting up shots and layers. Let's talk quickly about how do you send it to YouTube? How do you send it to Facebook or to send any other location or destination? So right back here, I'm going to jump in and we'll show the output settings. Try it again. Is it still flickering? It might just be my connector here because I've got the sort of odd connector. Is it still having trouble? Okay, so looks like we won't be able to show you that. Sorry, guys, because I think we may have a cord issue or something. But the main issue you'll want to think about here is the way to set up your outputs is just you can automatically sign into your YouTube account, and you can create and manage events and stream live directly to them, and you can even read the chats as people are sending them, so you can interact with your YouTube audience directly through the app. So YouTube was totally cool. We worked very closely with them and made sure we could implement their live API in Wirecast Go. And then if you wanted to go somewhere else, like Facebook or any other destination, you could just enter the RTMP address. So most of those destinations give you RTMP as a source. So Dave, you've got it there. You can kind of make it out. It's a little blurry, but thank you for showing that. It's just a menu where you enter the destination URL, or you can enter your YouTube address. It's optional. I think only if you want a custom RTMP, that's a paid upgrade. So YouTube is free, but if you want to stream anywhere else or unlock it to any destination, you'll need to pay like $6. So,
which is just a deal breaker. I mean, it's crazy.
It is. And then the cool thing is it also interfaces with Rendezvous for free. So all the free stuff is in the basic version, and you can use that as a Rendezvous free option for you guys. So Dave, have you been in the field and tried a Wirecast Go stream anytime in the recent past?
Well, I think you guys were the first real software that was able to do the switching like that, would have different shot angles and stuff that you showed. So when it first came out, I used it all the time. It was great. And then now I use it primarily when every Saturday I do my live show on Facebook with Wirecast on my iMac Pro, because I just love the big screen. And then I bring in all my extra cameras using with Wirecast Go. Did I say Wirecast Go on Saturday? No, Wirecast. And then Wirecast Go for my extra camera angles. And I'll set up, I have a pretty strong Wi-Fi in here. So I'll set up a bunch of angles and, hey, take a look at my pool shot right here out in the pool, just fun stuff like that.
Hang out, Dave.
Yeah, and so it's just so simple. It reads it automatically. I mean, I go into the menu on Wirecast. It says, do you want this phone or this iPad or click it, it's ready to go. It actually starts now, I think, on its own, and it's ready to go. So it's been a great tool for me for that. I love
Yeah,
it.
that's awesome. So it's designed to be multifunctional. It's actually the combination of two apps. We used to have two separate apps for this. One was Wirecast Go, which was for sort of remote mobile LTE streaming and switching. And then we had the Wirecast Cam app, which was just for local stuff with pairing with Wirecast on your Wi-Fi. And the goal was to eventually combine both those functionalities into a single app, so you could use it on your network with Wirecast or laptop or wherever, or you could use it in the field as your mobile production switching studio. Now, it is iOS only, so there is still no Android version as of this video. But it's still, for iOS users, it's a great companion to Wirecast, or it can stand on its own as sort of your easy to use little switching production switcher in the field. And it doesn't pair with additional copies of it. So it's not a multi-camera production switcher. You need Wirecast to be that bridge if that's what you want to go with. Or if you are trying to go strictly iPhone, strictly iPad, you'll need something like Switcher Studio or something that allows you to sort of, have a pair multiple phones together out in the field, which typically still need a Wi-Fi network, right? It's not like you can escape the need for that Wi-Fi.
That's my workflow. I mean, I'm at home in my office. I want the horsepower and everything that I'm going to run Wirecast on, because I can do so much with it.
Right.
All my videos are right here on my desktop. I can bring in stuff. I can go to web pages. I can just do all the different animations. We can do custom stuff, bring in comments, etc. And then when I go on the road, sometimes I'll be invited to do the live stream for a different convention I go to, like the Q conference, which is a big educational conference. And in lieu of having a booth, they give us a deal where I'll do the live streaming of their talks. We use Switcher. I have to bring my own Wi-Fi little Google Puck. Then I plug that into an Ethernet cable there, and that's kind of like the hub that all the different devices will talk to. And and sometimes, I mean, it just works great. It's a great workflow. So both sides are covered, and mobile and home and this and that. So love both you guys.
Yeah. So and then we've got some tips from Astronomy Livestream. Recommend, he uses the iPhone as a roving camera, and he also recommends turn incoming calls off and turn on Do Not Disturb on the phone, which is something I'm guilty of I didn't do here. So
That's right.
that's definitely something I could have avoided. I honestly, all I use like my phone for is, rather than dig in the settings and because Apple sort of expanded the whole menu, and so now that like general settings menu is just so long, and I just don't even. Every time I dig through there, I find something new. So all I focus on now is just the apps, the external apps, and then all the system stuff. Besides turning into airplane mode, like I'm totally an idiot when it comes to that stuff. So yeah, I should probably practice that a little bit more and get into some of those settings. Okay, so let's talk about how people can win their iOgrapher. So we promised we would be giving one of these away on the show today, and the reason we waited to tell you how to enter is because I wanted to show you Wirecast Go first, because it requires a combination of Wirecast Go and live streaming. Now, you may be an Android user, so if you're an Android user, you're going to have to beg, borrow, or steal. We don't recommend stealing, but beg, borrow an iPhone or an iPad or an iOS device. There's so many out there. We're sure you probably have a friend who has one. Somebody download Wirecast Go, and then you need to stream to YouTube or Facebook. And YouTube's free. Facebook you'll have to pay the $6 for, or any RTMP version. And you need to stream with a certain hashtag, or actually 2 hashtags. So if you do that in the next, how long should we give them, Dave?
Till next week's show. Why not?
No, next week's show. So we will announce the winner on next week's show, and Dave will bring you back on to help us announce the winner. Since it's your iOgrapher you're giving away.
I'm probably going to be at Disneyland, honestly, that day, but I'm going to bring me in. I'll come in.
Okay, all right. We'll try to bring you in through Rendezvous on your phone. We'll see. So we will pick a winner, and you stream out live somewhere. And the rules are not complicated. You just need to stream. We need you to switch or just show us that you're using the layers or using some production power. You can bring in, like I showed you, you can bring in another picture on your camera roll. You can get really fancy and bring in a couple like graphics or lower thirds. Just use some of the cool features that Wirecast Go allows you to use. And just to show us that you're serious about this, that an iOgrapher is going to really up your game when it comes to your video production on your phone or on mobile. Now, of course, once you get the iOgrapher, you're welcome to use your Android phone because it fits any iOS phone. But in order to get this, you've got to find an iOS phone somewhere or an iOS device, and you got to stream using Wirecast Go. And we don't care if it's on YouTube or Facebook. It could be even Twitter or Periscope. It has to be findable with the hashtags because we're going to just search for the hashtags, and it will search the platforms. But if you don't show up easily, then you probably we won't find your entry. But you can add us or tweet us or let us know just to kind of pay attention to this. So what are the hashtags, Dave?
Hashtags are, where are they? What are they? 2 days. Wirecast Go is one, and the second one is I need iOgrapher.
I need iOgrapher. So we're going to look for these two hashtags in the same post. It has to be a live stream post. It could be 5 minutes or less. We're not too picky here. We're going to look for the most entertaining, the highest quality, and sort of the maybe unique or interesting. We're going to look for those three things. We're just going to pick our favorite, and anything goes. As far
no nudity, please.
No nudity, nothing illegal. Obviously, strict within platforms. No, nudity will probably count against you. Sorry, it's just the way it is. If it doesn't get banned,
yeah.
And then we'll just search for that. And we'll look through the winners, and we'll be looking kind of over the next week. So use both hashtags, Wirecast Go and I need iOgrapher. Hashtag I need iOgrapher, and make your case and make it a fun, interesting live stream, and use some of the features there in the app, and you could win a free iOgrapher multi-case, and and Dave's goodwill.
Yes, I will be humbled forever.
So Dave, thank you. Is there anything else we should mention before we let you go? It's been a long but fun, very action-packed show here.
No, I love being on your show. It's always I've been a supporter of your software. I will say I saw somebody ask about what are they using for, I can't really pull mine up right now, but
let me see if I can grab it.
For a controller, but let me see if I can do this. So that's my Stream Deck.
Okay.
That I have all set up for Wirecast. You can't really see it right now.
Yeah. So we have Elgato coming on the show to talk about
that's
the Stream
what I was going to say. You said that. I love that.
Yes.
I love the Stream Deck. It's so fun and easy to use once you figure it out. But it'd be nice to have a seamless thing with you guys. So fingers crossed.
Yes. So we will. Nothing. I don't want to give any announcements away. I have nothing to announce, but I do know that we love the Stream Deck as well. We want to bring them on the show. We want to talk a little bit more about how it works, and if we have some possible integration in the future, we will definitely, the Wirecast Live audience will be the first to know.
Awesome.
And so I highly recommend having a handy little USB controller. You can quickly switch shots, bring on titles, graphics, and so forth. One quick question was from, I don't know if we can do comments here again. Oh, there we go. Tim Flanagan, is Wirecast Go app free? Yes, it is free. There is an in-app purchase to unlock RTMP streaming. So you can stream to YouTube for free. You can get most of the functionality in Wirecast Go for free, but if you want to sort of go to Facebook or any RTMP destination, you're going to need the $6 version. So there's only one in-app purchase. It's the unlock RTMP for $6, I think. And I think maybe it unlocks one or two other items with the YouTube functionality, but the basic stuff is all there. I think that's it, Dave. Go get Dave's book.
Right.
Once more, where to find Dave? Where can we find you? Where can people get more of your videos?
iOgrapher, everything iOgrapher.
Okay.
Yep.
Facebook.com/iOgrapher, YouTube.com/iOgrapher, iOgrapher on Instagram. You got a great Instagram account. I love following that. And iOgrapher.com for all your mobile filmmaking needs. And then, of course, the book, again, Life Camera Action. how to turn
Turn your
your
mobile
mobile
device
device
into a
into
filmmaking powerhouse.
Thank you. All right, and so go pick up copies on Amazon if you need a desk reference for any of this stuff. So, Dave, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for coming on the show. It was great to
Always
have you
glad.
on again.
Love being with you guys, man. Love seeing all your haircuts. You have a great day, boss.
All right, you too, man. Have a good one.
Take care.
So, folks, that was our show for today. Thanks to Dave for sticking around for such a long show. I know there's a lot to cover, but I didn't want to leave anything out. We wanted to cover gear. We wanted to cover tips. We wanted to cover the sort of workflow items, apps you can use, as well as the sort of live and the VOD. So if you're recording or you're going live, there's so much to know. So, of course, shoot us a question or ask Dave questions. He's an expert at this stuff. He knows more than I do. And some of you in the audience, I noticed, were answering some great questions as well around mobile live video production and streaming. So, of course, we have a great resource in you guys, our viewers. You can actually join our users group on Facebook where you can converse and ask questions like this all the time. And there's a bunch of very helpful people there who can help you with questions on Wirecast or all things video. So I want to say thanks for watching. Next week, we'll be back with Emmy Award-winning television producer Ben Ratner. I'm really excited to talk to him about what it takes to create an Emmy Award-winning live television show. I think we will gain some really good insights and advice and tips from one of the best in the business. So thank you. Again, stick around for that one. It's going to be next week, 2:30 p.m. Pacific time. And you can subscribe at telestream.net/WirecastLive. If you want to get notified, you can also follow us on social media at any of the channels aforementioned. Thanks again to you guys for tuning in, and thanks to our partners for helping make this show possible. There's a number of video equipment providers, from AJA to Blackmagic to our teleprompter and all of the other companies that help make us make this whole studio setup possible and help us bring you this show every week. So we will see you again next week. Thanks again, and keep streaming.